So it's the autumn of 1981. I was in a retreat up in Superior, Wisconsin, and I was sitting in a chapel. I was just praying, reflecting, and it was in late fall, and the sun was coming through these glass block windows. So the light was quite filtered, and it just came through as white light, and it reminded me at the time and at the moment of what the light looks like in the winter when the sun is bouncing off snow and coming through. It's very white, very bright. And that's where the idea hit me. I was in college at the time, and I came back to college after the retreat and went to the dorm room and started penciling out my ideas. My first draft was pretty horrible. The music worked just fine, but I had never composed my own text before. I thought I'd give it a try, and I presented that first draft to Rob Straczynski, who was the liturgical choir director at the time. He basically ran this place. Great resource, and he looked at my first draft and very kindly said, try again. And he pulled out of his drawer some examples of text that he thought could help me. And I believe one of those pieces was a piece composed by Mike Joncas. And it was wonderful. And that's where I learned what a metaphor was, and learned that text needs to go beyond itself. It needs to transcend itself. So I went back, and my second draft was the text that we now know as Night of Silence. I have no doubt that its connection to Silent Night presents a bit of a hook for people. But I also think the text itself introduces a contrast to one's experience with Christmas music that one doesn't expect. And that's because Night of Silence, unlike Silent Night, Night of Silence is an Advent piece. It's not a Christmas piece.
I remember thinking, oh, this is a work of genius. It is a work of genius because a quodlibet, that's what I call this particular form, is very hard to write. It is a counter melody that stands on its own and is perfectly legitimately sung without any reference to another melody. But then when that other melody is brought in and the two play against each other, that is just glory.
Michael Joncas inspired me, even peripherally, while I was at St. Thomas, because wherever I went within the liturgical music scene here, he was there. He was part of it. He was already breaking ground. It was his strong ability to go deeper within the symbols that we were navigating as composers.
The kind of poetry that appears in it is very adventurous. It's a little bit about the way a mosaicist or a pointillist painter puts, little dots of color and then other colors next to it, and your eye brings them all together. So the poetry in this works with image, 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 and then by singing the piece, all of those little images come together into a kind of meditation on the season.
My favorite line in the piece is, "Breathless love awaits darkened souls." I love the idea that love in the form of a spirit that is on its way to help us can be breathless, that it can care enough for us, that it is in a hurry to get to us, the way a runner might be out of breath when they're running fast. There's a human quality to that bridges the gap between human and spirit. I had some dear friends at the time, Joanne Wagner, Dan Swanson, singers, John Seward, guitarist. I played piano. Got the four of us together. Not 20 feet to my left here in this corner was an upright piano. We put a cassette tape in and we recorded Night of Silence for the first time. I played piano and it was a magical moment. We just played the tape over and over again, and I think it was clear to us or me that this was going to work, that it was a special piece. I'm at home in Spooner, working in a bank, trying to figure out what to do with a degree in piano, and this contract for publication shows up in the mail from GIA. And Rob Straczynski had submitted it behind my back to GIA, saying this is a piece you need to look at. So thanks to Rob, the piece is out there.
O come, Emmanuel. I think now we've got a piece that can stand the length of time the same way O come, Emmanuel does.
Cold are the people.
It would be hard to think of a musical ensemble, combination of musicians, that hasn't come together to do Night of Silence. There are recordings by opera singers, string quartets, high school choirs, orchestras with civic choirs. It's all over the world. I can't even predict where it's going to show up. It's in hymnals all over the world. So it's truly crossed over. It's gone beyond Catholic liturgical music. For that, I'm grateful.